By the time she walked into the interview building, most people had already decided she didn't belong there. Nobody said it directly, but people don't always need words. Sometimes they communicate through quick looks, raised eyebrows, small smiles, whispers they think nobody hears. The waiting room was full. Sharp suits, expensive watches, leather folders. People reviewing notes and speaking confidently about rankings and preparation. She sat quietly near the corner. Simple clothes. Old shoes. A folder with edges worn from being opened too many times. She looked younger than most candidates. Not nervous. Just calm. A few people noticed. One candidate leaned toward another and quietly laughed. Wrong room? Someone else smiled. Maybe she's here for directions. Nobody challenged them. She heard, but she didn't react. She simply opened her folder and continued reading. The receptionist called names one by one. People walked in. People walked out. Some confident, some disappointed. Eventually, her name was called. Several people looked up. One person whispered, "This should be quick." She stood, straightened her papers, and walked inside. The interview room was larger than she expected. Long table, 5 panel members, different ages, different expressions. One looked strict, one looked tired, one looked uninterested. She greeted them, sat down. The questions began. Education, experience, public administration, current affairs. She answered calmly, nothing extraordinary, but nothing weak either. Then the oldest panel member leaned forward. He looked at her file, then looked at her. He asked, "You don't have the strongest academic profile here." She nodded. "True." He continued, "Many candidates have better credentials. Why should public service choose you?" Silence. Classic interview question. Most people answer with confidence. Leadership, hard work, discipline. She looked down for a second, then answered, "Because I know what bad systems feel like." The room became quieter. The panel member asked, "What do you mean?" She took a breath, then spoke. "When I was 14, my father got sick. Nobody moved." She continued, "We spent months moving between offices and departments trying to get support." She smiled lightly. Everyone followed procedure. Pause. But nobody helped. The room stayed still. She said, "I remember watching adults tell us to return tomorrow." She looked at the table. We returned. Another pause. And again, then she looked up. Eventually we stopped asking. Nobody interrupted. She continued, "My father recovered later because of community support." Then she said something unexpected. But I realized something. She looked around. People don't remember systems. They remember people. Now nobody was writing notes. She continued, "I'm not here because I think government saves people." Small pause. "I'm here because people inside government can." The youngest panel member leaned forward, then asked, "What would you change first?" She smiled, then answered immediately. Waiting. The room looked surprised. She continued, "People already arrive scared." She looked at them. Confused, tired. She smiled. "The least we can do is not make them feel invisible." Silence. Then another panel member asked, "If resources are limited?" She nodded. "Then respect should become unlimited." Nobody spoke. Then the oldest member asked one final question. "What if people blame you for problems you didn't create?" She smiled, then answered, "They already do." Small pause. "But when people are hurting, they don't care whose fault it is." She looked around. "They care who stayed." Nobody moved. The interview ended. She thanked them, collected her folder, and left. Outside, people immediately looked at her. "How was it?" She smiled. "Okay." Someone laughed. "Just okay?" She smiled again. "Yeah." Then she left. Inside the room, something unusual happened. Nobody reached for the next file. One panel member finally spoke. She wasn't rehearsed. Another nodded. The oldest member quietly said, "She answered like she already worked here." Days passed. Results day arrived. Candidates gathered. Phones ready. Conversations everywhere. Names appeared. People searched, then stopped, because her name was first. Silence. Some looked confused. Someone said, "No way." Others checked again. She stood quietly. No celebration. No speech. Just staring. Then she smiled, because she remembered 14-year-old herself. Standing in lines, feeling invisible. Weeks later, training began. Her first assignment wasn't important. Just helping people at a public service desk. Normal day. Long line. One elderly man approached. Confused. Holding papers. Apologizing repeatedly. She smiled. Stood up. Walked around the desk. And said, "It's okay. We'll figure it out." He looked surprised. Then smiled. Because maybe that was the first time someone said that to him all day.
Years later, people forgot her interview score. Forgot rankings. Forgot statistics. But people remembered something else. They remembered being treated like human beings. And that became her reputation. Not perfect. Not powerful. Just present. Because the strongest answer in that interview wasn't clever. It was honest. This is Seavex Armada. And sometimes the people others underestimate become the ones who quietly change everything.